Welcome to Grandma's Nutritional Garden. It's been a while since I posted last, so I just wanted to walk through a real quick update. We've had 4 or 5 days without rain, and we've been playing some cleanup, doing some mowing, things like that, trying to get everything in the garden. I wanted to show you the Carmine Jewel cherry bush that is absolutely loaded with cherries. Hopefully you can see how crazy loaded this thing is. This thing is massive. This used to be just a little bitty bush, and it has just outgrown itself. And I posted in one of my other videos about placement, and it is not in the ideal placement for me. However, we just let it grow because it's just doing so amazing. And then it's just insanely loaded. It's always been really great producer, but this year it has just outdone itself. It is crazy. I want to show you kind of the size of some of the cherries though. They are pretty small. You know, when you buy blueberries at the store, those really large blueberries, that's about the size of these cherries. They're pretty small. So keep that in mind if that's one of the other cons about this, and if you need to know more, I'll be happy to answer questions on that. Okay, looking from the cherry bush into the garden, you can see my melon mounds. I have the first 2 are watermelons and the back 2 are cantaloupe. I still have a tray of herbs out there that I need to get planted, but those are going to just have to be repotted because I don't have the special container, the above ground, that I want to use for that. I was going to use a tank, and I'm just not ready to do that. I've got so much going on in the garden trying to get this going that I'm just not ready for that. So we'll just repot them and let them stay in pots, and they'll be fine. So anyway, the tomatoes look great. The cilantro in the tomatoes look great. That cilantro is going to stay there because I'm having trouble keeping up with the weeds because of the wet year this year. So I will just keep those down so it doesn't go into coriander. I just won't get coriander off that. But I do have plenty of other cilantro that I will allow to go to coriander and get my coriander off that. This one is a Brad's Atomic Grape tomato, and it's hard to see because the lighting isn't perfect here, but it's a purple tomato and it has just the lightest bit of a lime color on it. And can you see that? They're beautiful so far, so I'm really excited about how those are going to turn out. Now, interspersed in with the cilantro and the tomatoes, I have just a little bit of basil here and there. My family really likes basil, and basil does really well with tomatoes. So that's the only one that's growing in this spot, but I have 4 or 5 other spots in with the tomatoes. Then I also have this fox cherry tomato, and this one is mine and my husband's favorite tomato. And the reason for that is that it always produces. It doesn't matter if I have a really buggy year, a really wet year, a really dry year. I can always count on harvest from the fox tomato. And not just that, we love the flavor of the fox. If you like just a regular old time tomato flavor, you're really going to like these. They're not super sweet, and they're not super tart. They're just that really good tomato flavor. Okay, this is where it isn't quite as pretty. My peppers are really suffering, and I'm going to try and get them. I've got to go get some more mulch for them, and see if I can get them saved. If you notice, because of the water, the leaves down here are super yellow, and every single one of them is like this. And I have, 6 types, I think 6 types of peppers. And most of these are grown from seed, but I do have 3 poblanas stuck in here somewhere, and every single one of them looks like this. But you can see the newer leaves are a little more green. So they're coming out of it. So hopefully we see something better. We're expecting rain again this evening, so I'm worried that the pepper harvest is not going to be what it usually is. Last year I had so many peppers coming out my ears, it was amazing. Okay, next to the area where I have the peppers planted, I have cucumbers, a crystal apple cucumber planted, and a sweet slicer. Those are some of the things I just got in last night. And they are on the end with the corn, again, mixed in with cilantro, and you can see a couple of sunflowers in there as well. The cilantro will be harvested within the next couple of days when the rain allows. I don't think I'm going to get that done today, although that was my plan this morning, was to get that out of there tonight. But I don't think I'm going to be able to get that done. So I still have several other things that I have to get done before dark. So I've got my rows of corn. Now, while I was trying to clean some of the corn up, I did end up killing a couple of stalks myself. Isn't that brilliant? I do that on occasion. So, but I do have a lot of bare spots. So I will have enough bare spots that I'll be able to put in some more corn and let that grow a little bit later and still have enough to pollinate. And even if they don't have enough to pollinate, then I can hand pollinate those few stalks. That won't be a big deal. So next to the corn, in amongst the cilantro again, we have a couple more really nice looking sunflowers. These were self-seeded. I just let them grow. I did plant a couple of sunflowers here and there of another, I believe it's called Sunspot is the name of the version of the variety. And I'm not sure any of these are that, but we'll see. Anyway, I did not get my bean trellis up yet. It's still sitting there waiting to be put up. And I need to do that before the beans start to send out shoots, start to send out spirals to go up the trellis. But I've got a little bit of time yet. Then I'm going to put a walkway here with cardboard to suppress some of these weeds because the weeds are insane this year. And then I have some bush beans. These bush beans are a new to me variety. They're called Dragon Langier, who knows? I don't know how to pronounce them, but that's what it looks like to me. And then we have next to the beans, amongst the grass and the cilantro, we have some peas still going. So I've already been harvesting some peas and they've been fantastic. I have another eggplant, and that eggplant looks as bad as the peppers. And on top of that, it has flea beetle damage. So working on that. And then I have a Mexican mace marigold. So hopefully those do pretty well. Looking up from this area, you can see the grapes. They look fantastic. So the two younger ones, actually the one on the end over there is actually the oldest of all of them, but it just doesn't produce like the one on the other end, so it's kind of crazy. Look at that beauty. Aren't they pretty? This bush is huge. It's really tall. It's probably 4 feet tall. The trellis is just barely tall enough for it. So this one's been doing really well, and I'm really excited to have these peas because I haven't had these yet. So that's my first harvest from this group of peas. Lovely. These are the Tom Thumbs. The Tom Thumbs are pretty much done. They have not, they did really, really well for quite a while. The water was just too much for them. And then, of course, the competition from the grass that I've not kept up with either because of the rain. And this is what it looks like when your asparagus is pretty much all going out to frond. There's still a few here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty much done. Remember when the size gets to be a pencil or smaller, pencil size or smaller, that you just let them frond so that they can gather their energy for next year. These are some more beans. These are Jacob's cattle bush beans. And it's next to where I had my radishes. And my radishes have gone to gone to flower and not yet seed, but I wanted to leave these here because I was going to show you how cool the seed pods are. But even more pretty than the seed pods are these beautiful flowers. Aren't they gorgeous? I just think that the radish flowers are just really, really pretty. So now we also have in here, we also have the carrots, and they're starting to pop up and they look really good. So that looks fantastic. So getting there. And we have a few other little Jacob's cattle bush beans and a couple of shard plants over there closer to the cherry bush. A few pieces of lettuce here and there. And then we have the young blueberries. All of the blueberries are doing really well. This is the Rica with the big blueberries. Do you see those? All of the young blueberries have blueberries on them. So they all look good. This one looks just incredibly. It is like loaded. I don't know how it's holding them up, but they're so loaded. And then the next one. See, they just all look really great. Really, really good. They're just full of berries. It's kind of funny how they all look just a little bit different too, doesn't it? Based on the variety. There's 4 different varieties here. So, and then I have the more mature blueberries over here. And they are looking fantastic. So, pretty loaded. The smallest of the mature ones. This one's the youngest of these mature ones. Pretty loaded. And this one. I'm ready for them. The very first thing I put in my garden was this blueberry bush. And I love these blueberries. They're so good. So I'm ready. And then the other one. This one's an earlier. And then this one's kind of a mid. So when this one here starts to wind up, then this one really gets going. So I extend my blueberry season a little bit that way. So usually we have blueberries about mid-June, and I'm beginning to wonder. You can see some blush here, but they haven't changed much since a couple of weeks ago when I posted last. So they just really haven't changed that much. Well, that completes the tour. I hope you all have a wonderful wonderful garden season, and I hope you come back and take another tour with me. One more thing though, I did just think, I wanted to show you my peaches real quick. Okay, in an earlier video I said I was going to try these bags, these grow bags for the peaches, to try to keep the insects off of the peaches. And so far it's fine. It got a couple of bites. I don't know. It didn't look like that when I put it on, but I could have closed a bug in there. And I also have, there are other peaches up there that I need to get in a bag that I'm concerned about. However, the bags are really not easy to use. Just not easy at all. The string around it is like a nylon. It has no stretch whatsoever. So, you know, it can leave a gap, and it's really hard to tie tight enough. So that's something to think about later. I have some elastic string that I'm going to try and redo some of them. I just haven't had the time to do that. And just see if that works better. So that's my update. Happy gardening. God bless.